Hello you guys, it's Grace, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag for 2024. I know what you're thinking. It's September, Grace. It is nowhere near mid-year, and I guess this is just my curse. I will never make a mid-year book freakout tag in the middle of the year. There's been a lot of new exciting things that have happened in my life, so I want to talk about those really quickly here, and then we'll jump into the video. I've started 2 new jobs in the past 5 months. I am currently in grad school. I am working towards a Master of Fine Arts in creative writing. So I've been working on that. In the past 2 years, I've had a graduate teaching assistantship, but this past spring, I decided to apply for a different position. So my new title is Managing Editor of Blue Earth Review, which is our graduate-run literary magazine on campus. And then in July, end of June, early July, I started the process of applying and interviewing for a position at a healthcare organization. I have worked in retail for the past year. To replace that job, I ended up getting this job. Basically, I'm doing writing, editing, proofreading, formatting, all that kind of stuff for their educational materials for like physicians, nurses, whatnot. We do educational materials on grief and loss. Bereavement education. It's now been a little over a month that I've been working in this job, and honestly, the 2 of them are just really great positions for me. I've been really enjoying them. I've always loved editorial work, so I think they really fit me, and I've just been having a lot of fun. 2 weeks ago, classes started, so I've been back on campus now, and it has been amazing too, because almost every part of my life right now is related to writing, whether that's school, my jobs. I graduate in May, and that means a lot of my free time right now is spent on my thesis and my reading list. So the deadline is like a little over 6 months away, so knowing that it's that close is a little bit intimidating, but I know I can do it, and I'm really excited to see how my last 2 semesters of grad school go. That's enough yapping. I don't need to be Yap City over here. Let's jump into the actual video, and we're gonna start off by talking about the best book of 2024 so far. This only includes books in the first half of my reading year. The best book I've read so far is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. This series is turning out to be a huge guilty pleasure read for me. My thesis also has dragons in it, and I started writing that before I knew about this series, and well, I technically started it back in 2014, but we're not going to talk about that. I've been working on it for so long. But anyway, long story short, it's so fun reading books with dragons in them, because dragons, obviously, but then also it just like excites me even more to get back to writing my own book. So yeah, I actually read the physical copy. It was a book that like I'm not reading for school and I'm not reading for my reading list. I was purely reading it for fun and for my personal enjoyment. And it was such a good feeling that I have not felt this way about a book in a long time. And I think that's largely because I haven't had the time to read for fun lately, and it's a totally different feeling when you're close reading something. You're reading it like with a critical lens versus when you're reading for fun. So like I just had so much fun with this book. We all have heard of this book. We all know. Next up, I have the best sequel I've read so far. Last year, I don't think I read a sequel, which was a super weird feeling, and now here I am, and my first 2 books I'm talking about are sequels. Next up, we have House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas. I just love her writing. Her world building is just astonishing to me. She has all of these super cool elements to her stories, and I always find her characters super interesting as well. And they're those types of books that I just read when I need to just disappear into another world. The next question is, what is a new release you haven't read yet? So I have 2 for this: The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo and Funny Story by Emily Henry. Number 4 is the biggest disappointment of the year, and for this one I have Ruby Red by Kirsten Gier. I was really excited about this series, and it's been on my shelf for years. So I was super excited to get around to it, super excited to read it, and I read it and it just I didn't love it. So like the concept was there and I thought it would be a great series. But I did end up not finishing the whole series and ended up just getting rid of them. Like it felt like something I would have liked when I was in high school. But now it just didn't quite fit the bill. Number 5, what is the biggest surprise of the year so far? And for this one, I have The Last Supper Club. This is by Matthew Batt, who is a Minnesota writer. I actually wrote a book review on this book. I can leave that linked down in the description below. So first of all, this is nonfiction, which is usually not a genre I read a lot of. But I was like, okay, it's this guy talking about working in a restaurant. It can't be that good. But I ended up just loving it. So Matthew Batt was on sabbatical from teaching, and he needed a little bit of extra money. He was running low on funds while on sabbatical, so he decides to go back and work in a restaurant, which was something that he did like all growing up and through college and all that, like moving forward in life. He decides to go back to restaurant work, and he ends up falling in love with it and really enjoying it. And then the whole book is basically the trials and tribulations of working in a restaurant, and there were just so many great moments where there were connections to his family life, especially his mother, and then just connections with other people. That was a super big theme throughout it. And it just thematically and just writing style, it was all just beautiful, and I ended up really enjoying it. So this was a huge surprise, and I really, really did enjoy reading it. Number 6 is who is your newest favorite author, and for this I have Rebecca Ross, the author of Divine Rivals. So I listened to the audiobook for Divine Rivals this year, and that was another book that just, I mean, everyone had been talking about it, so I had high hopes for it, but it really did live up to expectations and even surpassed them a little bit for me. So highly recommend Rebecca Ross, highly recommend Divine Rivals. Number 7 is newest favorite character, and number 8 is newest fictional crush. And these two are from the same book, which I'm sure you can't guess. That is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Once again, my newest favorite character is Violet. I think she is just such a dynamic main character. I love the representation of disability in the book. Violet just conquers everything despite having challenges that not all the other characters in the book have. I love her. Fictional crush, I don't think that really needs to be explained either. Xaden. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything more. Number 9 is what is a book that made you cry? And I have 2 for this one. So first of all, I have Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. I picked it up at a little free library years ago, and I just wasn't really sure if I would like it or if I even wanted to read it. But I finally listened to the audiobook of it this year. It basically follows the story of this old man who's now in a facility. The frame of the story is that he is at this facility on the day that a circus comes into town, and he's really excited to go to the circus because he ran away and was with a circus for a long time during his youth. So he was really, really excited to go to the circus. I'm not going to spoil anything, but it always just makes me sad when like older people don't have the support that they need, and it just like it made me want to go give him a hug. So that one did make me cry, but it was such a good book. The other one, also a really good book, was Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. Again, like just the thought-provoking moments in it of thinking about the past and kind of looking forward to the future and future generations. I think it just did such a good job of kind of wending between those two themes. All right, then we have number 10, what is a book that made you happy? And for this one, I have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. There must be crack just sprinkled in the pages of these books because I flew through this. I enjoyed it so much. And this one is really cool because it's written in interview format, which I didn't know picking it up. So it's about a band and their rise to fame. This one did also make me cry at certain parts, but for the most part, it just made me really happy because we got all these moments where were like expressing this like living brightly and like all the adventures that these characters went on and their rise to fame and all of that. So I really enjoyed reading this book. And I also read this one like once the weather was getting a little bit warmer right at the start of the summer. So I think that was such a fun time to read it and might have contributed to why I felt so happy. Right, number 11 is what is the most beautiful book you have received or purchased? So I have 3. The first 2 are from AWP. So last year I went to this as well. AWP is the Association of Writers and Writing Programs, and it is a conference that happens every year in a rotation of locations. So this past February, it was in Kansas City. I got to go around to lots of different booths, and a lot of the booths had like free books or literary magazines that they were handing out. There were some things to purchase, all sorts of stuff. So I'm going to show off my favorite like book and my favorite literary magazine that I got there. So my favorite book is Birds of Paradise by Andrew Lom. This is actually a collection of short stories, and I just really love the cover of this one. I think it's so pretty. It's kind of like geometric and really cool. I haven't read any of the stories in here yet, but I'm really excited to get around to it. The other one, this is a literary magazine story, and look at that cover. It is so gorgeous. And I read a couple of these stories in here, but yeah, this is a great literary magazine, and I've been getting emails from them since AWP, and they're really cool, so you should go check them out. On that same note, I just realized I should do a shameless plug for our literary magazine. This is Blue Earth Review. This is what I work on, and this is our most recent edition. So this one came out in May-ish. Yeah, you can check out our website too. I'll leave that linked in the description as well if you want to buy a copy or just kind of check out what we do. And last question, number 12 is what does your TBR look like? What's on your TBR for the rest of the year? As with every year, there's a lot of books on my TBR. I have 2 main focuses. So first of all, you've probably noticed I've been talking a lot about audiobooks and kind of getting things off my shelf. So that makes up a big part of my TBR, continuing to read books that are on my bookshelf that maybe have been on there for a really long time, and I'm looking to, read them, get them off my shelf before I move again. That's a long process because I have a lot of books that I haven't read on my shelf, which I'm a little bit ashamed of. And then, of course, the other part of my TBR for the year is my MFA reading list. If you're interested in what's on my reading list, what exactly a reading list is, because not every MFA program requires a reading list, and probably very few people actually know what I'm talking about. If you're interested, I will also leave that video linked down below so you can see what's on my list. It has changed a little bit since I filmed that video, but it's only been a few books that have been swapped out, so not too much. That is it for my 2024 mid-year book freakout tag. Thanks so much for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment below what you've been reading so far in 2024 and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. I'll see you next time. Bye!